Hello everybody and welcome back to my den. I'm Dragon66 and here's another storytime video. So in this video we're going to be talking about all the basically reasons I was bullied in the past. Yes, so this is about being bullied and all that fun stuff. Anyway, so the point is this is a video of that. So whatever. Anyways, so to start off with the stuff. So a long time ago, I was around time of the last video ended, the 3-year-old, I started getting bullied. Now, I never really explained why they started making fun of me, calling me these things and all that. But the reason actually came down to my actual grandmother's sister. She would always make up random stories. She was the type of person that made up and then spread gossip and tried to do stuff. Now, she didn't like me because of my mother. Because apparently she didn't like people who didn't stay from where they were born. And my mother was born in Pennsylvania. So she didn't belong in a different state. That's how I was explained it. I don't know if that's true, but that's how I was explained it. Because my mom was born in Pennsylvania, I was bullied. Now, they would have stopped bullying me if I would have fought back, like they did with my brother. But instead of fighting back, I didn't like fighting. I'm not a violent person. I don't like violence, so I refuse to fight. So that's why they mostly never stopped, because I never fought back. If they tried to hit me, I stood there and took it. I didn't fight back, but they could never hurt me either. So I had a high tolerance of pain, but they couldn't really tell. So, because they were too full of selves and all. Now, they've even had them, if you ever seen those TV shows where you see people circling around someone and attacking them, yeah, that happened to me quite a bit. I had tons of people around while I was being beat on, so that wasn't fun in its own self. Now, I can still say my life wasn't horrible. There was still good stuff. But one thing that I want to make clear is my childhood still wasn't perfect. No, I would never say any childhood could be perfect. But point is, when I was growing up, many people didn't like me. Whether they were family, friends, it didn't matter. And to be honest, I don't care if they didn't like me. I really don't. Now, I haven't talked about it yet, but something happened to 9. Person had a restraining order on them. I had a restraining order on them. That'll be a whole nother video. But because of that, I couldn't really leave my own house because I would be in that restraining order area if I left my house. Which, there's a whole conversation about that too, how stupid it was and all. But basically, when I was growing up, I went to my house and I did what I could. You know, I usually just sat on a pier all day. Now, I never wore sunscreen and I never ever had sunburn. I've never had sunburn my entire childhood. No joke, I've never felt sunburn in my entire life. I don't know what it's like, because I've never had it. A lot of people say, wait, how do you never have sunburn if you're on a pier all day? I don't know, I tan. But when I tanned, I was getting really dark, to the point that people actually mistaked me for being Mexican. I was that dark. So, yeah. And that didn't help either, because that would be something I was bullied on. Because they used old stereotypes, stuff like that. Like the fact I have a big butt, which I do. Apparently. I guess. I don't know. But also the fact that I was so dark, I didn't look what I look like. So, I got made fun of for stuff like that all the time. And I can put up with a lot of bullying. I really can. So, I was actually made fun of for what I look like. But I also got made fun of for, the fact that I'm considered disabled. I got made fun of by people who don't even know me. So, people I've just met already apparently knew who I was and was already making fun of me. So, I had to deal with a lot of that, but that's just my neighborhood where I live. So, that's just the people around me. However, that's not where it all stopped. I actually had more problems than just that. Because even so, I had people not just in my neighborhood bully me. I had people like my school, every teacher, every student. I had a student, he used to be a friend of mine. He came up to me and a bunch of other kids one day, pulled a dead bird out of his backpack, and when he pulled it out, his response was, "I killed this bird, and next time I get a chance to see your parents and all your animals, I'm going to do what I did to this bird to them." Yeah, I had a person in school threaten to kill my family and all my animals that I had. And what was my teacher's response when they were told? "Oh, who cares? Now go throw that bird away and wash your hands. You don't know where it was." Yeah, that was my teacher's response to a person threatening to kill people. That was their response. And that's pretty much all I ever got from the teachers. Mostly because they actually were telling students to bully me. Yes, my teachers were actually telling people to bully me. Now, my best friend, when I first met him, he did bully me too. And I found out later, once we became friends, that when he first came to the school, he was told by many people to bully me if he doesn't want to be bullied. So that was pretty much everything. The entire school was bullying me because no one wanted to be bullied. That was my life. And I did not like it. I did not like that being my life. I did not like the fact that teachers actually were helping people bully. They weren't, protecting students or nothing. No, they were actually influencing the bully. They would sometimes even, when a student's being upset, they will make fun of the students. There was one kid who, when he got mad, he would kick stuff. And what was their response to him? "We're going to call you Thumper." Yeah, they kept calling him Thumper from Bambi. And it would make him upset. So what was their response that he was upset being called Thumper? "Let's call him Thumper more." Yeah, that was their response. They would then encourage other students to do the same. Make fun of him. And this wasn't just me. Everyone had this problem with the teachers, but the problem is, that was the students who didn't do well in school who had that problem. Yeah, so they would pick on purposely the people who aren't doing well. So, for example, I was never good at reading and writing. Those are my worst classes, English and all that. I can't really spell and I can't really read because this is how my class went. Excuse me, what is... Shut up, you're disrupting the class. If you're not going to be quiet, then leave. And I said, fine, I'm leaving if I can't even figure out how to do the work. So I go to leave, and then this school can put you in restraints, and that was one of the immediate things, except for this teacher decided to pick you up and give you this bear hug, which isn't legal to do. But see, there was one big problem. I could deal with most of that, except for the fact that there was a bulge always hitting me in the butt whenever that happened. If you can guess what he had in his pants. He really needed to stop freeing the willy. But, that's what he always did. And there was many students who actually commented on that. So, yeah, it wasn't fun there. Now, the teachers would do other stuff with restraints that they could legally restrain a student that were misbehaving. But what they couldn't do is things like slam your head against a concrete wall. Pretty sure that's not good for anyone, but you know. And then they would go even further too. And you would see stuff where the staff would do stuff like they would put you in a room. They called it, like, I think it was MSR room or something. It was basically just a room. Now, you're allowed to be in there. That's where you're supposed to go when you're upset. But what they're not allowed to do is, while multiple students are there, slam the door shut so they can't hear you, and then turn around and blare metal music so loud in a room with no windows that echoes that you go deaf. Your ears will ring. You might as well just have been at a concert and had, you know, stood right in the middle of everything. Because that's what it sounded like. You were right there at the beginning, middle of the concert. It was loud. Way too loud. And the problem is, that's what they would do. Now, they would also do other stuff, too. And this is teachers bullying. This is how teachers were bullying children. Even elementary children were getting this type of treatment. So, it wasn't just me getting all this, too. Other students were going through it, too. Now, around this time, though, there was a lot more. Because this was just in school. So, I had an incident where the kids started bullying me on a field trip. We were on a field trip to Subway. Or not Subway, sorry. It was it was a grocery store. I can't remember the name of the grocery store because we don't have one around where I live now. Something that starts with an S, though. Speedway? No, not Speedway. That's a gas station. I don't know the name of it. Safeway. That was it. I remembered it. Safeway. Yeah, so it was a Safeway. So you would probably be like, okay, well, you went to a Safeway. Well, how were they bullying him? Making fun of me and all. And they went and were bullying me. So when I complained to the staff, what was their response? We're just going to carry you out of the store. Yeah, I had the grown adults pick me up with my legs and my arms, carry me out. Now, you would probably say, well, that might be sketchy for someone walking by. I don't know. I was yelling kidnappers, and everyone just looked at me like I was crazy. Yeah, that's how people act it when you see a kid being carried by grown adults out of a grocery store yelling kidnappers act it. Just like, oh God, what's wrong with that kid? I don't know what is wrong. But yeah, so obviously, you know, I wasn't being kidnapped, but I did not want to be carried either. Now, they did a lot of other illegal stuff. For example, when you're in a restraint, if you try to move your head while you're on the mat, because you would stick because of sweat and all, they would grab you by your hair and slam it straight down on the mat as hard as they could, and then push on your head. And then someone would take their elbow and jam it onto the pressure point on the back of your neck. Say we wouldn't have to do this if you weren't being unsafe. You did nothing wrong. That's the whole point. They know you were innocent. They know you did nothing wrong, but they're going to bully you anyways. It's how they acted. It's how they treat you. That was not a good school to be in. And my best friend actually left the school and actually got a proper education. Something that I've always asked for was an education. Something I never got, though. Yeah, I never got a proper education growing up. So, pretty much your whole argument that they had was, we don't care if you have an education or not. We're not going to teach you. So, in the end, though, that's pretty much how my education went, too. I was bullied by teachers, students, faculty, principals. You have it. They bullied me. And I just was done dealing with that type of stuff, really. Growing up, that is something you don't want to happen in a school. Being bullied by your teachers and every student being encouraged to bully you, And then when you complain, you're the one punished. That is what I dealt with. And I was never happy with it. No one was. So, and mind you, there was other students that had it. Again, the students that weren't very well behaved, typically. And one of my favorite incidents was when we were on a field trip to a water park. Actually, one that I lived closer to than any of them, because I went to school out of the county. So, and we had to go to my county for that water park. So, I actually knew more about the water park. I knew the entire area because I've been there many times growing up. So I knew the area better. And one of the students got mad because while we were playing water volleyball, decided they were going to choke me because I accidentally splashed them. And you're probably sitting there saying, well, okay, what's so bad about choking? Well, the fact that you were underwater and you almost blacked out, and your teacher's response was, sit there and watch as another student is choking someone. Yeah, that was my teacher's response to watching someone being choked. It'll be fine. That's literally what it was. So, in fact, the student only was pulled off me by the lifeguards. The lifeguards are the ones who saved me from someone choking me underwater. I still don't remember to this day coming out of the water. That's how bad it was. So, it wasn't really a fun situation either. And this is bullying. This is still bullying. And it's teachers letting this happen. And funniest part is, no parents were called, even if it's on a field trip. No parents were called, no cops, no nothing. They just let it happen, and my mother never knew it happened. My mother was never told that her son was choked underwater on a school field trip. Because that's something you still have to tell a parent. If another student is going to assault your child, you still have to let parents know it happened. Especially talking about someone choking someone, It's something that you have to do. But this is how, the school acted. Now that school no longer exists. They got shut down due to lack of funding. Should have been other reasons, but whatever. I don't care, to be honest. But yes, basically the whole thing is, my school was not fun. It was not a good school, and I was bullied by everyone, teachers alike. But my neighborhood wasn't all good either, because I had students who were in high school still bullying me. So it's kind of sad too, when you got high school students bullying you. And the whole situation with that came down to no one really liked me because of all the lies. For example, my grandmother's sister did another thing that was really fun. So if you ever seen a kid, in a school, right? You ever seen a kid in a school or something, when they're being bullied. Well, when you have a relative bullying you, how do you really know? Well, I don't know. Calling social services, making up lies might be a good way to tell. Yeah, she made up a lot of lies about her family. Stuff like my parents used to watch adult movies with us and take us to bars and go drinking, stuff like that. I was like, that's stupid. Yeah, we had to deal with social service a lot on that. And one kid started bullying us because my dog bit him. He was squirting the dog in the face with a water gun. So, obviously, the dog got upset, and he was chained up. He couldn't go anywhere. He was chained to, he had the little chain leash, and he was chained up. He couldn't go anywhere. He was stuck being squirted in the face. So, what did happen? Well, the kid got his entire kneecap torn off, for one. And for two, he actually had, they had the social services and all called, not social services, it was a cop, called. My grandfather was the one there at the time. And when the cop was told what happened, the kid was squirting a chained dog in the face, a chained up dog in the face, the cop's response was, I would have bit him too. My dog had nowhere to go. He was stuck there dealing with it. So because of that, my dog was actually in the right. On my property at that. So basically, my dog didn't get in trouble for biting someone. Which is fine, because he did not have another place to go. He was stuck. He was chained to a tree. So, where's he going, right? Point is, though, that kid would then bully me for years to come because of it. Until he moved, he would bully me. And he one time stole my bike. He just went onto my property, stole my bike, and I spent an entire 2 years trying to find that bike. My dad saying he would never buy me one until I found it. Well, I found it. I spent an entire year and a half trying to steal the bike back. Yeah, I had to steal my own bike back because his mother wouldn't do anything for me to get my bike. Said that he doesn't have it. I found it in his fort that he built out in the marsh. I found it in there. I found it. Yeah. And by the time I got it home, I found out what happened. Tires were slashed. Took me forever to get it because he would guard it with a paintball gun. I had to wait until winter to get it, when I knew he wouldn't be outside. So yeah, I was being shot with a paintball gun trying to get my bike back that he stole. And once I got it back, my dad finally got me a new bike because it was too badly damaged. It was now rust covered and everything. So yeah, that was pretty much what I had to deal with that bully. Yeah, these are bullies. This is how they picked on me. Now, I had another bully that did a fun thing. You ever stun down a loaded gun? I have. It's not very fun. Yeah, that's what he used to do all the time, because he used to hunt, and how he used to threaten me was with a loaded gun. Yeah, I've stared down the barrel of a loaded gun more than once, so trust me, it's not a fun time in the neighborhood. Not really at all. So, yeah, pretty much there is a lot of things that I've learned from being bullied, and I learned how to avoid people. I learned how to learn their schedules so I can avoid them, and I learned how to pick up on smaller indications where people are and what they're doing. So, pretty much, that is what I had to deal with growing up. It wasn't fun. It wasn't a childhood I would recommend, but it was my childhood. And I still wouldn't change it, because without that, I wouldn't be nice. I wouldn't see people, in a positive way. I would actually hate a lot. I may have been one of them. And it all starts for me with my actual grandmother's sister making up all these lies about me. Every time I was bullied, I would turn around and find out she made some other lie about me. She slandered me, lied about me, and she encouraged people to bully me. And that was what I had to put up with. I don't know why I had to put up with it still, but I did. Now, I moved when I was 14, and around that time, most of the bullying stopped. I was bullied for a while more until I finally lost my cool, and I ended up attacking one person. Someone who did not know how to fight. I knew him. We both knew each other. He didn't know how to fight at all. His whole fighting strategy is put you in a headlock, take you to the ground. But he also learned that you can't easily take me to the ground, and learned what my strength was like. Now, I was going to be let go, say, just horsing around. I would not have taken that, because my plan was to snap his neck. I actually had to force myself to let him go. So, I was really ticked off. So, I had lost my cool way too much. And mind it, this was at the point about almost 15 years of putting up with people bullying me. I finally lost my cool after 15 years. So, that's a long time to take bullying. But I am not justifying either that what I did, because it was still wrong in the end. I shouldn't have done what I did, but I did. And I will always admit when I do something wrong. I'm not a horrible person. And I'm not, that bad that I won't admit when I do something wrong. Because I did something wrong there, and I was in the wrong. That's why I took credit for it, and I wouldn't let it be passed off as me playing around. I knew I wanted to hurt him at that point, because I was so upset. So, in the end, I ended up doing what I did, And I still do not like the fact I did it, but it was actually then that people realized that I wasn't as big of a pushover. And that's actually when my life started getting better.